Hi, everyone, and welcome to Buzzworthy Live. Today, we're digging into membership and awareness campaign that started with students. Emily Burnett is the Director of Communication and Engagement at the American College of Osteopathic Family Physicians, ACOFP. And earlier this year, her team launched the Family Physicians Do More campaign, a student driven idea that grew into a national initiative with video storytelling and a standalone brand. Emily, so great to have you here.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
So, Emily, the Family Physicians Do More campaign, I'm really eager to dig into this and share it with our audience at home. It was started as a student run idea. Why was that so important that members helped shape the message from the very beginning?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And to answer that, I'm going to go back 2 years ago to 2023, give some additional context before I jump into how our medical students really did shape this message. But in 2023, ACOFP received a grant from the American Board of Family Medicine Foundation, as well as the ACOFP Foundation. And through this grant, ACOFP has been now a multi-year research study to better understand the perceptions around family medicine and to gain insight into why a medical student would choose to go into family medicine, especially when they have so many other options that they could specialize in. You've got dermatology and oncology and cardiology. What are really the drivers behind choosing family medicine? I don't know if everyone is aware of this. I certainly wasn't before we launched this campaign, but we are in the midst of a physician shortage crisis. The Association of American Medical Colleges has shared that the US could be short between 17,000 and 48,000 primary care physicians by the year 2034. We urgently need more medical students to choose a career in family medicine. I think we realize that that decision doesn't always start by the time someone gets to medical school. That decision might start in college, or it might start in high school, or it might start as early as elementary school, and people are thinking about what they want to be when they grow up. So, the goal of this grant was to promote family medicine as an attractive profession for the next generation of physicians, and specifically osteopathic family physicians. So, to better understand this landscape in 2023, we went to our medical student members and first conducted a benchmarking survey as well as a literature review. We were able to get our students credit actually for being a part of this because they went through, let's say, upwards of 600 to 800 research articles and went through all of them. Some of them were reviewed by 2 or 3 students, providing summary information and putting them into different categories. More on that later because it's part of this campaign. But building off of those research findings and that literature review, then fast forward to 2024, at our annual convention, we brought together the students that were involved in that project, as well as some residents, our new physicians in practice, and physicians for a think tank event that really aimed to identify what tools, resources, and opportunities are needed to promote family medicine. And then from that think tank event, it culminated into students presenting Shark Tank style pitches for how to encourage those at a high school or college level to consider a career in family medicine. So students got up and they pitched their ideas in front of a room full of like 100 of other students, residents, and physicians, and talked about how they would elevate family medicine's visibility and appeal. That is where the concept for Family Physicians Do More was really born. That was the winning concept. But the really incredible part about that experience was that we took aspects from every pitch and integrated it into that campaign. So if you go to the site familyphysiciansdomore.org, you will see an interactive quiz. It's sort of meant to be fun, sort of BuzzFeed style, like if you're a good fit for family medicine. We've also launched a social campaign that focuses on busting some of the myths that surround family medicine, such as it's not as prestigious as a specialty. you can't make as much money, things like that. And then also a home for all of those research articles that we talked about. We uploaded all of them as well as the students' findings there to that site. And then the students also pitched a formal mentorship program called OsteoBridge that ACOFP actually launched just a few months ago. So, to bring it back to your original question, from the beginning, it was essential that our members help share this message and be involved at every step of this process because they're the true experts. We had several task force involved to support this work, but it's our members and especially our students who know the experience of being in medical school and completing residency and going on to practice. And I think when our members speak about what they do and how they treat and teach and lead in their communities, that's the most authentic and credible and powerful voice. And I think ultimately our goal was to show that family physicians really do more. So it was a long answer, but wanted to share how we got there ultimately.
No, that's wonderful. I think this is a really great example of how an association is really being a great facilitator between a real need within a space and utilizing membership to kind of take in all that passion and knowledge and create something that's going to be ultimately a positive impact into both the membership as well as the broader space that it's being applied in. Um, and the way that you structured it in this kind of pitch format and incorporating the students in that fashion, I mean, what a great example of getting people engaged and involved.
And honestly, it was a lot of fun. We had like those foam Shark Tank hat or shark hats that have like the fin on them. And so it was really fun to see people embrace the theme and have just as much fun as staff did planning it.
Nice. That sounds like an awesome time. I wanted to dive into really the campaign that came out of this. You know, there could have been a lot of different ways to incorporate that feedback from the students and the ideas, but you know, ACOFP did something interesting, which they really built this campaign as essentially a standalone brand. You didn't just, you know, boot up another page on your website and dump a bunch of text on the screen and call it good. Can you kind of walk me through the thought process, perhaps the strategy? We can get into tactics maybe a little bit here, but just the motivation on want to make this campaign a standalone brand with its own microsite. And what do you think has been the success story behind that, if any, in terms of moving it in towards that direction of kind of giving this campaign its own IP?
Yeah. That's something that we talked about for a really long time, how we were going to bring these things to life. Where would they actually have a home and what do we need to do to make that happen? So it took us a while to get there, but ultimately we made the decision to build this standalone brand and a microsite to support it because we needed to reach beyond our own members and needed to connect with this new audience. And we also wanted ACOFP to be removed from this. So if you go to familyphysiciansdomore.org, yes, if you look at the URL, it will change and start with www.acofp.org. It is still within our site. And that was more for budget reasons than anything else, being able to move it to a separate server and a separate host site. But
Mhm.
you won't see ACOFP brand or color palette. And that was very intentional because we're trying to reach a new audience with this. This is for a younger audience that's outside of our membership. And so when we started to look at the design choices, we were very, very intentional about that. The colors are dark and they are bold. And it was actually our web designer who said that She presented the data that this audience usually leaves their phone or their devices in dark mode. So they're going to probably naturally gravitate towards something that is on the darker side. So that's why you see, this big, dark, bold, very bold font. And the homepage itself is almost entirely black, or at least the background. And then you have the logo, which was also an intentional play with words, having the DO be really large to leave a big impact, having the more be a handwritten script, so that it looks like handwriting, so that you could take that in and fill that with whatever you want. So yes, you're doing more, but if you look on the homepage, you also see that you can do dermatology, you can do pediatrics, you can do rural practice, and that DOs are doing those things. And that list is really endless. And we think that that conveys just the breadth and depth of family medicine. You have so many options, you have so much choice. And we felt like a younger audience would also have fun with playing with the logo in this way. But an independent site also makes this easier for anyone to share it. And I hope that it empowers our members to further amplify that message, and that students, or actually teachers in high school, or also college professors, would find this site and see that we've created resources for them there as well. And then this also allows us to be scalable. So we're in year 3 of this 5-year program, like I said, and we hope that there will be future extensions and that this campaign will continue to evolve. And building it on this separate site has given us the space to do that, which is really exciting.
I think that's a great use of thinking about who is your target audience, getting a good idea of what their persona is, what are their preferences, and trying to incorporate in something that's a really tailored experience for them. Just to linger on the website a little longer, can you explain to me kind of the goals of the website a little bit more, and what's really waiting for your visitors once they've been directed to that website?
Yeah, we hope that they will go and explore every page of this site. We hope that they're coming in organically, and that they are someone, like I said, who is in high school or in college and who's thinking about choosing a career in medicine, and that this would help them, maybe have some of their fears calmed. You can go to a page here and learn, from a student directly, how what her experience was taking out loans. We know that that can be a huge hindrance to someone choosing this pathway, because you are taking out large loans, both as a student and potentially through residency as well, and that can stay with you for a while. So if you can hear someone's own personal story on that, we hope that that helps. But there's a difference between being an MD and a DO. And so we want to make sure that we communicate that. But I think really what's at the heart of this site are those day in the life videos. And so I hope that if there's one page that people are going to visit and really dive into, it would be looking at the 6 episodes that exist that showcase our 18 physicians and what a day in their life looks like.
Can you walk me through a little bit more about the motivation behind creating these day in the life videos? Why do you feel like it was important to take an intimate approach like that into telling these stories?
Yeah, I think storytelling can do so much more than just presenting data. And I think, when you're talking about osteopathic family medicine, it's one of the best approaches. And so through these videos, we wanted to be able to showcase how physicians really do more every day for their patients and communities. So we feature 18 different physicians, whose days truly could not look more different, from the other, but they all share that same passion for patient care and commitment to doing more in their communities. There are themed episodes. They look at what is osteopathic medicine? What is the osteopathic approach? How could someone learn more about that? There's another episode that has 3 different perspectives all about pain management and what that looks like. And then another that showcases how you can be in family practice, but you can still have a subspecialty like women's health or sports medicine. And then another looks at technology in medicine, which, as we know, is constantly evolving right now, and takes a look at, again, three physicians and how they're utilizing technology differently just based on what their practice looks like. So again, it all comes back to that breadth and depth of family medicine. And that's what we really want to show someone, that you can have a fulfilling career. And you can have work-life balance, and you can make it what you want it to be if you choose family medicine. It's been so exciting to see since we've launched that this just the engagement that the storytelling approach has unlocked. I had someone at an event last week, one of our members came up to me and said, "How do I make a day in the life video?" I said, "Well, you could do it right now. I could just film you on my phone and you could tell me what your day looks like." And he goes, "No, but I want to be in my clinic, and I want to be in my office, and I want to be in my home, and I want to show all of these different things that I get to do and how, I go about my day." And I was like, "Well, great. We'll send you a guide and we'll help you edit it, or we'll connect you to our partners and maybe we can get a camera out there." But that kind of response is exactly what we were hoping for in this, that in whatever medium someone has access to, they're also going to open up and share what their experience has been. Because I think the more you share, the more, I don't know, people can be interested and hopefully make this choice. Because as I said, we need more physicians.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what great feedback to get from a member that's watching the videos really made them motivated to kind of step in and try and
Mhm.
contribute to that overall story. And when it comes to reaching young people, and I've put on my marketing hat for a second, you're really trying to get people to take action on something. Like, you really got to make them feel something, right? And really humanizing the people behind the profession. Um, Allowing people to kind of visualize all these different people and what their stories are, what are the commonalities, what are the differences, and a little bit about kind of what it means to them, and the people that they're helping. I think that's where you get to moving minds and hearts and attracting people to do something like this. So, absolutely fantastic. The website as well also features quizzes. Can you speak a little bit more just about the quiz itself?
Yeah, this was, like I said, came from one of the pitches from one of the student groups, and it actually, for a 7-question quiz, took a lot of time to develop because we wanted to make sure that, one, it wasn't going to deter anyone from making this choice, but that it was going
Mm-hmm.
to provide an opportunity for us to say, "But hey, wait a minute, there's more, and here's how we have additional resources for you to consider this." But we wanted to make sure that each question was very intentional and was hitting at the heart of what it means to be an osteopathic family physician. So if you are passionate about, they say birth to death or cradle to grave, and have like being on that lifelong journey with your patient, this could be for you. If you trying to think of some of the other questions right now, but each are really different. And I will say, there was also the most amount of people involved with the quiz specifically. So we worked with our web designers. We also had a student task force involved, and those had been a part of, the think tank and, the Shark Tank pitches, including the winning team. And then we also had a task force on engaging students involved. And then, the FMLC, which is the Family Medicine Leadership Consortium, is a group of, 8 family medicine organizations. And so we developed a task force within that group as well. And they all had input on the quiz. They had input on everything, but the quiz specifically was a huge group effort.
Emily, this was a massive effort. It involved multiple parties. You have students, your fellow staff, partners. What did you personally learn as you're going through this project and collaboration? Was there any lessons along the way that you'd like to share with us?
Yes, I'm smiling because of course there were. Um, there was a lot. Again, this project really started in 2023, and we didn't necessarily know the direction that it was going to take because the staff team, we were not the experts. So we didn't start this in 2023 thinking, oh, we're going to make these day in the life videos and we're going to build a website. We really let what we learned along the way inform us about next steps. And so I would say a huge key learning is that shared purpose keeps everyone aligned. This campaign really united our students, our members, our staff, all of the partners that were involved around one goal, to continue to elevate osteopathic family medicine. And that shared sense of purpose, I think, really helped to keep everyone focused. I think it was also great that we were able to bring the students' pitches to life. I think that allowed them to feel a sense of ownership. And so we have students who have stayed involved from the very beginning, and they're continuing to help us with social content and ideas to continue to push this out. They have promotional material they can take to their student chapter events. Some of them are still connected to their colleges and their high schools, so they can help disseminate this information at career fairs or to past professors or teachers. But that's been fantastic. And I think with so many contributors, it's been imperative to stay organized and on top of our deadlines, and just making sure that we're able to continue to do that, especially with the launch of a website. Thankfully, ACOFP had just launched our own website a year prior to that. So we had some experience right out the gate, launch one site, launch another site. But what's been fantastic is that through all of these partnerships, it's been able to multiply the impact of this. And by combining our students' insight and our partners' expertise, I think we've been able to have an impact that none of us really realized we'd be able to hit. And I'm just extremely grateful, especially to the Family Medicine Leadership Consortium, the FMLC that I mentioned. They were also a huge part of this and have been continuing to share this with their audiences as well. But I will say we also only launched in August, so we have a lot of ground to still cover.
Looking back, what do you feel most proud of when it comes to this campaign?
I think that this can actually make a difference. I've been incredibly proud to be a part of this, and especially to be a part of it from the beginning, and to know that it really could drive someone to take that step and to say, okay, I could do this. I could become a family medicine doctor. I think that's ultimately what it's all about. And preparing for this, one of my team members reminded me that even some of the first and second year students who were involved during the think tank and the research part of it, they hadn't decided their specialty yet. But through the experience, before we had even launched the campaign, they said, I'm all in. I've met these, residents who have gone through this, these new physicians in practice. I want to be in family medicine. I'm going to make that decision now. And that's a small group, but that has a ripple effect. And to know that this could have that impact is really exciting. And honestly, it's a true honor.
I think it's just a great example of how an association can be really the gasoline on being able to serve really a societal need, membership, getting membership involved in a meaningful way to make a positive impact in a broader sense. A role of storytelling in terms of moving hearts and minds and incorporating digital strategy. It's really a great campaign that you folks put together. So I certainly hope that everyone is feeling quite proud, and you have plenty of reason to be proud.
Thank you.
Emily, we covered a lot of information today. How do you feel about answering a question or two before we get out of here?
Great, let's do it.
Fantastic. All right, so our first question here is, was this campaign built with internal resources, or did you work with an external partner, and how did you balance that with everything else your team was managing?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. I mentioned I did talk to some other team members because uh, before this happened, just so that my brain could have a refresh on some of the process. Because, like I said, we started this in 2023. There
Mhm.
have been a lot of steps on the journey, and uh, yeah, I can you repeat the question one more time just so I formulate my thoughts? We had grant support. That's where I was going with this.
Ah,
It wouldn't have been possible without the support of the ABFM Foundation, which is the American Board of Family Medicine. This is not an undertaking that ACOFP would have been able to do on our own.
yeah, I think the question was really just getting at the heart of where did the resources come behind this. So part of that, I'm sure, comes with budget as well as just internal skill set. So
Mhm.
anything else to add there?
Well, we did partner with you to create the videos, so I could add that. And I think, that's been the great thing about this process. I mean, you've given us these 6 episodes that are they're produced and they're beautiful. And we went to 6 different on-site locations, but we also sent
Mhm.
virtual video equipment to I'm very bad at math, whatever gets us to 18, these other locations. And we picked 18 very diverse physicians. But we captured all of this content in so many unique ways. But that's also, you
Mhm.
don't have to do this that way. Like the
Mhm.
person who wanted to film with me on site last week, we could have just made a video on a cell phone, and we
Mhm.
could have done really simple edits to it and still posted it, and that could still have impact because those stories still have meaning. And I think that's what we've been learning along the way. And the more content that we can have, the better. Content is still king.
Well, I think it was a great example of someone like us being able to complement a lot of internal competency that you folks have. I mean, like you said, you've been working with these members, right? They're your members,
Mhm.
and you've just previously went through a website launch. So a lot of those internal skills, fortunately, complementing what we do here, I think really came together to being a great result. Our next question here is what helped leadership see this wasn't just a one off campaign, but something strategic?
I think that goes back to the heart of being in a physician shortage crisis. I
Hmm.
think that that's a very real problem that's facing our country, and um, this is our answer to that. And I know that there are other groups who have launched similar things, and we are united. Like we're in agreement that it all matters right now because um, healthcare matters. We need more primary care physicians.
Emily, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Before we wrap up, where can people connect with you and follow your work at ACOFP?
Yeah, I would be happy to connect on LinkedIn. Um, you can find me there.
Perfect. I highly recommend everyone go and reach out to Emily there and give her a follow, connect. She's definitely a great source of inspiration. So, everyone, thank you for being here and spending your time with us. If you missed last month's session with Amanda Darnley, it's available on the TaleWind Content Hub. You can go to hub.talewinddigital.com and see you next time on Buzzworthy Live.